Hey, welcome to the Vaguely Anime Podcast. I am one of the hosts this evening, Michael, followed by the only other host here, Sage.
That's me.
And we're going to talk about the MCU.
Woohoo!
So, because why
I
not?
have so many pressing thoughts, so you have to all know it now.
Yeah. So
You're
we're gonna,
all subjected to the MCU now.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the MCU in this episode, and you're going to just have to deal with it. So, yeah. Have you seen Black Panther yet?
No.
No?
I intend to watch it soon.
Okay.
Why? Oh, God.
I was just curious if you had seen it and what your thoughts were.
No, I haven't watched it yet. I've been avoiding all trailers.
Yeah, I was also doing
and
that.
all like internet things about it.
It was kind of funny because when me and Kieran were going, one of my other friends she happened to also be going at the exact same time. Had no idea. Like, I was getting up to leave.
You were like, "Hey, I know you."
Yeah, and I was getting up to leave the theater, and they also stood up, and I was like,
"Hello."
But yeah, like it was good.
It was. Oh God, I'm scared now. Was it not as good as the first one?
I didn't like the first one all that much.
Really?
I thought it was very bland. I loved the soundtrack. I loved the aesthetic, like the cinematography and everything was good. But I thought the story was just kind of boring.
I really liked the first one, minus the end fight.
I think the fight's also not great. I, again, hate that they killed the villain, but that's just a Marvel thing, and so I'm not going to,
No, because the reason why I like the first one is I like the direction. Now, I never read any Black Panther comic books. So
I haven't either.
the movie is the
fair.
only context I have.
Right.
But I really like what they do with Killmonger in this movie. I like that he's essentially right.
He's right, but does it in the wrong way.
Right. Because he's doing it from a place of like anger and hatred, essentially.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I really like that it makes him a very compelling villain. I at this, as much as I don't want the villain to win, you can understand why they're doing what they're doing, which I think makes a movie much better, opposed to just like a cardboard cutout of a villain.
Right.
You know what I mean? Who's just evil for the sake of being evil.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really like the first one primarily because of Killmonger. I mean, obviously, the environments that they create are incredible. The soundtrack, the costumes, everything is really good. Minus the end fight, which is atrocious, but
it's really not
everyone
that,
and their
really
mom has
good.
already said that.
Yeah.
And I really like when he lets him see the sunset.
Yeah.
I just think that's a really good character moment, and I feel like sometimes in Marvel movies we don't get that.
Right.
Where our hero can realize that the villain is also human.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes that's lost. I mean, obviously not in every Marvel movie is the villain a human, but
yeah, I needed to like refresh myself on what I thought about the movie. I was trying to pull up my review.
Oh, no problem.
And yeah, like just reading it again, it's like, oh yeah, that's what it is. It's just, it never makes me care.
That's
like,
fair.
I get the message, I understand the moral, but nothing about it makes me really care about that. And like it should, because they are important morals, and like their points are important.
Right.
But it never makes me like care about it.
Right. You're neither here nor there with that.
Yeah. And I feel like the second one kind of does the same thing.
Gotcha.
It's slightly better, but I think there is never a moment in the movie that I root for the main character.
Gotcha.
Like, and that's like, I would explain myself, but I don't want to spoil it for you.
Wait, can I just ask you this?
Yeah.
So did you watch Love and Thunder?
Yes.
Is it the same feeling as watching Love and Thunder?
Did you like or not like Love and Thunder?
I was mid the whole way through.
It's funny, my first time watching Love and Thunder, I was like, this is fun. Like, I was like, it's boring, but it's like not boring. It's nothing new, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And I think Love and Thunder is that, but the more I think about Love and Thunder, the more I'm like, I am kind of sick of this Thor. I wish he had
here's-
some more seriousness to him than just.
Well, here's the thing. Thor Ragnarok was good
It was.
because it was a departure from Dark World and OG Thor,
Right.
First movie Thor, right? Because it was development.
Right.
He was going somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I think with Thor Love and Thunder, I would have loved to see him change a little bit, especially because we do kind of like see glimpses of him with the Guardians. I would have loved him to be a little less quippy, a little more.
I think the best version of Thor we have gotten was Infinity War Thor.
I agree.
Because it is a good combo of him being a serious person with still making jokes.
Yes, that's my whole thing about MCU right now is I want them to go back to phase 2 where they had a really good balance, or was it phase 3? We're in 4 now.
4 just ended.
Okay, so I want them to go back to phase 3 where they had a really good balance of quips and seriousness and through line with their stories.
Yeah, I do think because people are shitting on Phase 4 a bit. And
I think phase 4 is the weakest, but I don't think it's bad.
Phase 4 is the weakest, but
it's also the experimental
it's
phase. And I
also
can't
the
blame
one
them.
that they have to set up everything again, and they can't use the characters they did originally.
Right.
Now they have to set up characters that people don't know.
And the thing is,
and I think they're doing a fairly okay job at that.
I think phase 4 in part is getting shit on because in phases 1, 2, and 3, for at least our like main characters, we just had them in movies. You know, we saw them every, 2 or 3 years or whatever, right?
I do think that Marvel is oversaturating themselves. They're putting out too much in a small time span.
They are absolutely oversaturating, but I also think they are in this very experimental phase, whereas pre-phase 4, whatever TV shows that they had were cable television shows.
Yeah, the ones that it was either the
Agents of
Netflix
S.H.I.E.L.D.
ones or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like, and those shows, you didn't really need to watch them, if that makes sense.
No, they are running into an issue about the fact that
the shows, okay, if you don't watch She-Hulk, you are literally, unless they do like a quick recap of her, you know what I mean? You're going to be lost in the sauce. Same with WandaVision. I think if you didn't watch WandaVision, you went into
I've had
Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, I have had people that went into Multiverse of Madness without watching WandaVision. They were like, it was all right. And I was like, I don't understand the flip. And you're like,
I personally do not. I think the difference between phases 1 and 3 and then phase 4 is in 1 and 3, or 1 through 3, there was no real need to watch any previous movies. You could just watch Avengers, Age of Ultron, Infinity War, and Endgame. Just those 4, and you would get it.
Yeah, I think it would be a lesser experience, but
yes. I don't think it would be as fulfilling, obviously.
Right.
But if you just watch those and nothing else, you would understand what's going on. You would get who is who.
You could probably throw in Civil War.
And Civil War, sure. But you would get the general gist. You would understand character motivations. But not watching WandaVision and going into Multiverse of Madness, you'll be like, lady, get the fuck over it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I do think even with WandaVision, though, that Multiverse of Madness still feels like a very quick heel turn.
I think the problem with Multiverse of Madness is they're trying to take on too much at once.
I think it's still a good movie. I feel like they should have maybe leaned into the corruption of the Darkhold more or something. I don't know. It felt like she went way too fast.
I also think it's a good movie, but it either needed to be longer or you needed to cut some stuff out.
Yeah.
For things to work totally.
For me, I just think there needed to be a little more explanation for why she was there.
Like, I really like the idea of kind of essentially like evil Wanda. I like that idea. I liked where they were going with it. I agree about the quick turn, except like
because
there's obvious reason why it happens,
right.
but it's just not
I
tangible enough.
I think that it needed a little more explanation, and I mean, this is like a nitpicking a plot thing. It's the same with Spider-Man, where it's like, if Doctor Strange just explained anything, No Way Home wouldn't have happened.
Right.
And you're like, that is true, but of course the movie has to happen. So like,
right.
But like, yeah, they could have probably wrote it a little tighter so it's a little less of a thing. But movie's got a movie. Doctor Strange was too arrogant and Peter didn't understand anything.
Right.
There you go. Where with Multiverse of Madness, it's like Wanda knows about the multiverse and everything, and she knows it, but it was like it's never addressed that like if there's a multiverse, there's not one that doesn't have your kids in it that you're not around, or like you just died or something and you could just go to that universe and replace them.
Right.
Like what?
I think the problem truly with Multiverse of Madness is, one, in my opinion, that movie went at a fucking lightning pace.
It did move pretty quick.
Oh my gosh. I think that's also in part of the problem with Phase 4 is everything is at a lightning pace. Even the TV shows. I was watching Moon Knight, and I was like, oh, cool. He's discovering that he has another personality or identity, right? Yeah. And, he realizes he has powers, but this version of him, he's got like the sleek suit, which one of my favorite designs of Moon Knight. I love the way that looks. Right? And then it's just suddenly like Egyptian gods boss battle, and I'm like, what the fuck?
That is one of my biggest problems with the MCU right now, is that they can't have small stories. They have 2 TV shows that have low stakes. And
I think
3.
I guess because I'm biased
2.
towards Moon Knight, and I really like the idea of the character and where you can go with him. I wish they kept it more small.
Moon Knight isn't always a ground level hero. I understand.
Right.
But when you're introducing a character, the threats should be, you should start at
small.
street level.
And like, because in Iron Man 1, it wasn't Iron Man saves the Earth. You know what I mean?
It was just stopping a dude trying to make profit off of the other suit.
Stop
Obadiah
evil
Stane.
robot Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
Like, that was it. You know what I mean? I mean, Captain America a little bit different, but you understand.
Yeah.
Thor, you understand, right? But with Moon Knight, I feel like that character doesn't particularly need to have this like...
Dude should have just been fighting vampires on the street.
Hell yeah. It would have been great.
Like, Moon Knight, I enjoy.
And I really like Oscar Isaac.
Yeah,
as
like,
Moon Knight.
enjoy Moon Knight. Like, it's still up there in my TV show. I'm literally looking at my rankings right now.
Right.
It's in my top 15 of MCU movie, like all MCU.
MCU content.
Yeah. But it's just also, by the way, I saw a bunch of people like shitting on She-Hulk. I actually think it was really good.
I didn't think She-Hulk was bad. My only true qualm about She-Hulk is
they accurately predicted all of the nerds being pissed about it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Which was so funny.
My only real qualm about She-Hulk actually is when she's in her Hulk form.
Yeah.
Is the face is just a little...
It's the problem that Marvel doesn't give enough time for.
Yeah.
It's all it is.
And I know this is like the smallest nitpick and it really doesn't matter.
Well, I would argue it's not small because it is a big portion of the show.
But the face is just so weird to me.
Yeah.
That it's actually off-putting, and I'm like, I get it, I understand, but at the same time, it's too small for the size of the head. You know what I mean? Like
She-Hulk, that's like because Hulk looks great in the show, but it's also because they've had movie budget for the Hulk, and they've been progressing that model over the 10 years this has been going on. With She-Hulk, it's a TV. I mean, it's Disney, so they can throw a bunch of money at it, but that's not the point. They're throwing a bunch of money at it, but not enough time.
Yeah.
And Marvel has a very big problem with not giving enough time to VFX artists.
I also think, and is it just me, or
but I think it's a good show.
As we move along, does it not feel like the time is getting shorter and shorter?
It is. The problem with Marvel is that
If Marvel wanted to stop and literally wait 3 years to put out Phase 5, I would be okay with it.
yeah, the problem is that they need to set up so much stuff that they have to cram it in, but like they feel like they have to cram it in. Otherwise, it's going to take them 10 years to get.
Wait, can I ask you a question? I'm sorry to cut you off again. Iron Man came out in 2008.
Yes.
Avengers 2004. I mean, so sorry, 2012.
Yes.
Okay, so they have 4 years to set up Phase 1.
Mm-hmm.
Right? How long has Phase 4 been going on? Because it hasn't been 4 years.
After Endgame.
But what was the
Or
first...
sorry, after Far From Home.
Was that 4 years, though?
Oh, look on.
I feel like it was less.
MCU release.
Unless
order.
I'm just so, like, detached from the MCU at this point, because it's just kind of overwhelming to be super enthralled in it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't watch any of the Spider-Man movies.
None of them?
None.
Okay.
Because when they first started coming out, I was so
So Far From Home was 2019.
okay.
And then
So we just ended Phase 4 in 2022.
yeah.
So it's 3 years.
Yeah, 2019, and then the first movie was Black Widow in 2021.
Oh, so the first...
The first movie. There was TV shows.
Right. But I'm saying how long... What was the first Phase 4, Far From Home?
No, Far From Home is the end of Phase 3. It's the
Okay, so what's the
technically.
start of Phase 4? That's what I'm asking. Because it's not WandaVision. It would have to be before that. Would it be... Can't be another TV show.
fucking.
And it can't be Hawkeye. That was after that as well.
All right, so Endgame, Far From Home, so July 2019.
Okay, that's Far From Home.
WandaVision comes out January 2021.
So that's the beginning of Phase 4.
Uh-huh.
So, did you
So
say January?
July of 19, and then 2021, January 2021.
Okay, so January of 21 is WandaVision. And we just wrapped up Phase 4. Right?
Yeah.
So they gave themselves 2 years. Half the time that they gave themselves between first Iron Man and Avengers.
There were 16 different releases from Marvel in
2 years.
to 2021 to now.
That's insane. I don't know why they feel this. They feel the need to.
Because it would take forever if they didn't.
They have forever.
Right.
The money is not going anywhere.
You're right, but
Also,
I agree, but I also see why they're doing it.
No, I understand the reason to push, but at the same time, like, I feel like enough people have been like, one, saying that they have obvious MCU fatigue, so they're dropping out of the MCU for a while, and two, people complaining about the quality of MCU right now because they're rushing things.
I think that
I feel like that's a large enough number.
I think a lot of their shows, they had the problem of none of them being grounded. Hell, Miss Marvel wasn't even grounded.
Right.
They also changed their powers for no fucking reason. And they're not good. The change that they made to those powers are not good.
Right. I agree.
And
I think the change they made is strange.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not. I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but it's literally the exact opposite of the original purpose of her powers, which is that they were supposed to be gross and weird, stretchy powers.
Right.
Because it's supposed to be a story about a coming of age story about a girl being comfortable with her body, and then all of a sudden she gets weird, gross, stretchy powers.
Right.
So it's supposed to be even more symbolic of accepting who you are.
It's supposed to be the most extreme version of that story.
Yeah, and she hates her powers and hates that she has them. And then in the fucking show, the minute she gets her powers, she's like, this is the coolest shit on the planet.
Yeah.
And you're like, this misses the whole purpose.
Yeah.
And they also just don't look as good, if I'm honest. I mean, like, stretchy powers would have looked weird, but that's fine. They should. They should look weird.
They should. But you know what's interesting is I think
they did it because they didn't want to worry about fucking Mr. Fantastic, I'm sure.
I was just going to say that. I feel like the, like, early 2000s Fantastic Four movies look better with Reed Richards and his stretchy powers than they do in this 2022 TV show, which is kind of embarrassing because Fantastic Four does not look that good.
Yeah, but I will say, like Hawkeye, I love.
Right, I didn't watch it.
I think Hawkeye I don't think Hawkeye is my favorite Marvel TV show.
Right.
I know people don't agree with that, but I think it's great because it's grounded, and I love the characters in it, and I just think it's fun.
Right.
It still didn't really give much character to Clint Barton, but like it gave him enough that I'm okay with it. And also it introduced us to Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop, and like, I love her. So, and then I
think Haley Steinfeld was a good choice for that role.
She's great. I love Haley Steinfeld. I think that the MCU needs to go back to kind of what they were doing before, and they still do it, but like really it's like with like 3 directors. They need to go back to being like just giving random directors
outlines.
Movies. You know, like just because if you're going to saturate the market like this, they have to be different.
Yeah.
Like
I think if you make everything the same, it becomes very by the books very quick. Where at least if you have a bunch of different people creating different aspects of it, you can have very differently aesthetic worlds that all kind of come together.
Yeah. I feel like there's the whole purpose to everything, and I think that some of the shows are like fine.
Yeah.
But it feels like all the shows have the same problem.
I don't think the shows are inherently bad. I just think they are really boxing themselves into fitting into this like Marvel.
They are making everything needs to be giant.
Not only that, but they're pigeonholing themselves into a formula.
Yeah.
Where I think, especially with the shows, they have a lot more room to do a lot more creative storytelling, and they're just not allowing themselves to do it. I think if WandaVision didn't have, a witch battle at the end, but just had Wanda realizing what she's doing is wrong without the witch battle, would have been just as good, if not better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And same with Miss Marvel. I don't think Miss Marvel needed to have, the climactic ending that it did,
where the universe was going to collapse.
You know what I mean? Like I think if they had left it with her still accepting her like hero status, it would have been fine. You don't need to pigeonhole yourself into this kind of formula, because honestly, the movies do that enough.
Yeah, Moon Knight, the universe is also going to fall apart.
Exactly. They do the same thing with Moon Knight, where I don't think...
Sorry, the whole half the planet's going to be fucking
right,
murdered.
whatever it is. But I think with Moon Knight, if you had left it as a more character-driven story, that would have been totally fine. Especially because I think with a character like Moon Knight,
he should just be punching zombies and vampires and werewolves.
With a character like Moon Knight, who's so layered and complex to begin with, why would you not think that as your clear, evident reason to go with that, like that kind of storyline?
Right.
You know what I mean? Of him coming to grips with his own, dissociative identity disorder and being like, okay, why you need to, like you were saying, make everything so big? It's just unnecessary. And I think I'm hoping in phase 5, phase 5 does not come for a while, but I'm also hoping in phase 5,
the next movies in like
next
March.
Year. Jesus Christ.
February.
I want them to go. I think a part of why people love phase 1 through 3 is because we get to learn who these characters are in a more organic way. Whereas in phase 4, I think a lot of it is kind of shoved down your throat very quick, and it's less appreciated because Tony Stark in Iron Man 1, right?
February is the next.
Disgusting. But Tony Stark in Iron Man 1, he's this billionaire playboy, right? And it ends the movie with him saying, "I'm Iron Man."
Right.
But then in Iron Man 2, he's still kind of being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, just because
He's also dying, but yeah.
Right, but you know what I mean? Like, just because the world knows he's Iron Man, he's not out here being like, I'm the defender of the planet now kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then in Iron Man 3, where he's having, like, severe PTSD and, like, working through his trauma, you know, all those things. And then you see him in Avengers, Civil War, Age of Ultron, Infinity War, and then through Endgame. The reason why his death in Endgame is so impactful is because we see him build up to the person he is now.
Right.
In terms of when we see him in Endgame, how much he appreciates life.
Right.
How much he cherishes his daughter because of what he's been through in the past and his own surrogate children prior to that, right?
Right.
So even his relationship with Spider-Man, right? You see that happen over time. Whereas I feel like with the shows, they feel like they have no time, which is insane because
they have
MCU is going nowhere.
Yeah, they have movie times.
Not even movie time. I think people are so invested in the MCU that if they decided to make multiple season shows for one character and let things progress organically, they would, one, be making even more money than they're making now. But
which thankfully they're doing with fucking Daredevil. Because they're like, oh, they're giving him 18 episodes and whatnot. And you're like, thank Christ.
But you know what I mean? Like,
I hope that
I think it's evident that giving these characters the time that they need to become beloved pop culture icons like Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man obviously is effective.
Right. It's because I think we're getting to the end of Phase 6 in 2025.
Which feels too soon.
So instead of the 10 years it took
to reach the end game,
or 11 years, it's going to take 4.
Which to me is crazy. How can you spend 11 years on phases 1 through 3 to do it in essentially half the time for the next 3 phases? Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Because by the time we get to the end of phase 6, trust me when I say, people will say that was good, but I did not leave feeling like that had impact.
Yeah. Because I think what's going to happen, right, is the MCU has an inherent problem, which is it's not comics, which means people age.
Right.
And all of their actors are going to age out of roles at some point.
Right.
And so now it feels like they want to do the stories that they want to tell with, like, Falcon taking over as Captain America.
Right.
Sam Wilson. I was spacing on his name.
I was like, who?
Yeah, I was just spacing on his name. I wanted to keep saying Anthony Mackie, but I was like, that's the actual actor's name.
I would have gotten it.
And he is Captain America in the comics too, and it's great. He's incredible Captain America. He should be. But like, I feel like they're like, we're gonna run out of that. Time. So it feels like they are in a rush to set things up to where they can pass every mantle on.
But I feel like if you can,
which is why they're setting up Young Avengers and stuff.
I think if you can give Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and Chris Hemsworth 11 years, when they were already starting their roles, in their 30s,
right?
Why would you not do the same with your cast that's again starting in their 30s?
And most people are probably going to be down to stick around.
You know what I mean? Like,
the amount of money they're making.
It's not like. Even with Tom Holland, like, you started with him in his 20s. You have easily another 10 years with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, except unless the Spider-Man 3 is his last movie.
But you understand what I mean? Like, it's not like you need to rush because ultimately you can make it work.
Right.
And the thing of giving your stories time, it can make sense for the characters to age.
Yeah.
To progress.
I think out of recent recent Marvel stuff to come out, Werewolf by Night might be one of their strongest,
I agree.
and it's because it's just so different.
It's so
the
creative.
stakes are very minimal. It is a very self-contained story. It is very different, and it is very interesting.
And I think Werewolf by Midnight is just
By Night.
Sorry. Is so creative in like the visuals and how they chose to like go about filming it.
It looks like an old horror movie.
It's great, you know, and it has that kind of like old horror movie vibe and just like you were saying, very low stakes. But if they keep going in that route, that would be great. But I don't think they're doing that based off of everything we've seen in Phase 4 outside of that, because I think they put that out as like, you know, a Halloween special type deal. But I don't know if they would consider taking that kind of storytelling into a main property.
Right. No, again, it's like, it's that point of, it feels like they should give more directors like the random movies.
Absolutely.
But it does come into that point of like, then how do you combine all of those like different director styles into one movie? It's like the argument about Edgar Wright when he was originally going to be doing Ant-Man.
Right.
How the hell would you like incorporate an Edgar Wright Ant-Man into like a regular movie?
Right, because he's just so stylistic.
Yeah.
And he makes choices that are really out there but have, I think, great payoff.
Yeah, like, God, I wish we still got that movie, but it would have been so much more like.
No, I think especially because that would have been what, Phase 2.
No, because
Ant-Man was
Phase 3.
the first Ant-Man was Phase 3.
Yeah, because he doesn't.
I feel like it's Phase 2, but you might be right about Phase 3. I feel like that would be a thing where if we got the Edgar Wright one, maybe they wouldn't even like bother. You know what I mean?
Right.
Leave it standalone.
Oh, you're right. The Ant-Man was the end of Phase 2.
Okay.
It was the last movie in Phase 2.
I was like, I really feel like it was Phase 2.
I also like high key love Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp is like by far one of the funniest MCU movies, and I think is one of the most entertaining.
Yeah.
Which I apparently am the minority on, but I love that movie.
I feel like I don't even know what I would consider the best MCU movie other than like.
Oh, I know my top 3 easy.
Infinity War and Endgame, but like I feel like that doesn't even count.
Number 1 is Winter Soldier. Number 2 is the first Iron Man. Number 3 is No Way Home, and then it's Endgame or Infinity War.
I feel like,
and then it's both Guardians of the Galaxies.
I think for me, it's Infinity War is actually my favorite, followed by Endgame, which sounds weird to say it like that.
No, most people say Infinity War is their favorite.
I just think Infinity War is so tightly written, and even though Endgame is like the hero's victory, Infinity War is just such a great culmination of all the characters. Yeah,
Infinity War can be its own movie.
Yeah.
Endgame, even though they tried to make it its own movie, and it still stands on Infinity War.
You still need the context.
So
if that makes sense.
So it always makes Endgame just under Infinity War, I feel like.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then I feel like first Iron Man for sure. I also really liked. I think I'm one of the like 3 people that liked Iron Man 2.
I think Iron Man 2 is fine. I also think Iron Man 3 gets way too much shit.
I love all 3 of the Iron Man movies personally, especially 3.
I feel like people just didn't get the point of 3. They wanted it to be like a cool action thing, and it wasn't that. It was supposed to be introspective.
Right, but I think that's where if we had just a cool action thing with Tony at that point, it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like
he is just a dude in
yeah,
a suit
like
of armor.
he's literally just a guy.
A guy in some metal.
And I think that's what makes him one of the most interesting MCU characters we've had.
Yeah.
Because he's just a regular ass guy who's just like, oh, all right, let me just sit down and think about, the consequences of my actions.
I think that people also hated it because of the Mandarin twist, which fair.
Right.
Like it was a really dumb twist. I don't know. I feel like there are some issues with there. And then going to the Mandarin, I also think Shang-Chi is another one of those movies that also should not have been to the scale that they made it. Also should have been way more street level. And they only gave the 10 rings to be what they are because I feel like they were like, he needs to be able to be on the same level as like Captain Marvel, so we need to make him get some mystical bands. And it's like, okay, he's just a dude that punches well.
Here's my thing about about Shang-Chi is the opening of the movie. Love it.
It's incredible.
Like, I am here for your mystical, like, Tai Chi, like, martial arts that you got going on.
And then the whole bus sequence.
Right. And then
Great.
we have him kicking ass in his own way. That's a little more like street style, but still martial arts, but got like a little bit of edge to it. Mm-hmm. Great. Mm-hmm. Right. If it was just a movie about him learning traditional martial arts, I would have been fucking down for it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like these days we don't really get those kind of movies.
No.
Because I think a lot of people are just having war flashbacks to like really cheesy 80 martial arts movies. But I think if you could have left the mystical element, but if you were going down the road of deeply enriching it into like Asian heritage and cultures, then go deeper.
Right.
You know what I mean? Don't just stop at surface level. Really bite into it. There's a lot to go off of. And I think you could have added a lot of mysticism, and there's a lot of like folklore and, superstitious beliefs.
But CGI fight.
I don't need that.
With the guy that's just supposed to be a really good punch guy.
Yeah.
Actually, the best punch guy.
So
Shang-Chi is supposed to be the best punch man.
Like, I think
But mystical stuff.
I don't mind the mystical stuff, but you could have made the mystical stuff a little bit smaller.
You could have mystical stuff, but don't have it as a giant CGI fight. Have him be fighting a mystical person.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
And I think the worst part is we got aspects of that version of that movie.
Yeah. I also think those rings are the worst.
Yeah.
I think that the 10 rings are really dumb. And I really don't like that they gave it to a dude who is literally just supposed to punch things incredibly.
I
He's
think
just supposed to be the best puncher. And yet he still goes on to galactic battles because he is the best puncher. Okay. That is what his thing is.
Okay, imagine. So giving him the 10 rings is like if you gave Hawkeye like infinity vision, essentially.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like guy who shoots stuff real good.
Yeah. It's just
like that's the same level of what they're doing. And it's unnecessary.
Shang-Chi should be Hawkeye.
Essentially.
Like, Shang-Chi is just the best puncher.
Yeah.
And that's why he's there. Just like Hawkeye
and he's
is
also
the best archer.
Just a guy.
Yeah. Like Hawkeye is just the greatest archer of all time, which is why he's there.
I need us to go back to just a guy for like 3 minutes in the MCU.
Yeah, but Shang-Chi can't be just a guy.
I know. It's awful.
He's got to be mystical guy with these rings
like
that are the most
very
powerful
unexplained
things ever.
magical powers.
It's just I hate it.
I also in Shang-Chi I thought it was really funny that his like quirky friend Aquafina, I don't remember her character's name, just randomly became really good at archery.
Yeah, I also don't really like that character.
In like the blink of an eye, and I was like,
I can't tell if I don't like that character or I don't like that actress. I feel like I've seen her in a few things and I haven't really liked her in a lot of them.
I am like very up and down with her in that I think sometimes her delivery is just a little too much for my taste. She, I think, leans too much into the like quirky, like random XD kind of humor, which I personally do not enjoy.
Right.
But there has been things that I saw her in that I really liked, where it's kind of dialed back. Like she was in Ocean's 8.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I also forgot about Ocean's 8.
But yeah, she was in Ocean's 8, and she was still kind of like the quirky character, but it was really, really, really toned down. And I thought her delivery was really good. Like, she was obviously like the comedic relief of the movie, but it was done in a way where it wasn't like punch you in the face comedic relief kind of thing, like how James Corden is, who I absolutely despise.
I
hate
James Corden.
He's awful in literally everything. He plays the same character, which is just himself in everything he's in, and it just makes everything worse.
I despise that man.
Awful.
I despise him a lot.
0 out of 10. Do not recommend.
Yeah. I think Hawkeye is the best TV show they put out. I think it stays perfectly grounded. I think that it is a very good character story. It doesn't take itself overly seriously. And like I think it's probably the best thing, in my opinion, that the MCU has put out since I guess, well, Spider-Man No Way Home came out recently. So minus Spider-Man No Way Home is the best thing that the MCU has put out since Phase 3.
Gotcha.
Like ended. I think Spider-Man No Way Home is the best. But I think Hawkeye is the second. Because like it knew what it was. It didn't try to make giant stakes. It was just about a dude fighting fucking a mob boss that he didn't even want to be there for.
It's just a dude being a guy.
He just wanted to get home for Christmas.
Yeah.
And this dumbass kid found a suit and decided to wear it to fight some crime. And he was like, God damn it, now I gotta fix this mess. And he just wanted to get home. Like, great, perfect. She-Hulk also knew what it wanted to be. And it makes jokes about the fact that everything needs to be gigantic in the MCU. I think the biggest problem was the CGI, but that's not a fault of the VFX company.
Yeah.
That is the fault of time management, or not management. That is the MCU giving them the timeline that they gave them.
Giving them literally no time to do anything.
And it'll just get better over time because they'll have more time to fucking work on it. So, like, the more She-Hulk shows up, I'm sure it'll be better. And I think it knew what it wanted to be, and it was fun.
I also think they're at a disadvantage, like you were saying, because Professor Hulk just looks so good. They just had so much time to work on him that it looks so immaculate, where in comparison, She-Hulk does look a little, like, off.
Yeah. Because, like, also, arguably, She-Hulk is supposed to always be in She-Hulk form. The only fucking reason she isn't is because they can't afford it.
Yeah,
They
they
didn't
don't
have
have
the
the budget to...
No, they had the budget. They didn't have the time.
Right.
If they wanted to, they absolutely could put the money towards that.
Right.
But, yeah, so it's just like, you know, but I think it's good. I think it put its place very well. I have it at 11th. Out of 38 of the MCU rankings. Hawkeye's 9 for me. Werewolf by Night's number 10. Like, and then at least if we're talking shows, it's Hawkeye, Werewolf. If you count Werewolf, it's technically like a special. So
yeah, I was gonna say I think that's just like a short.
Yeah, so Hawkeye.
It's only an hour.
Yeah, Hawkeye, She-Hulk, Moon Knight, Loki, WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Miss Marvel, and that's it. That's the shows.
Yeah.
Miss Marvel's last for me. I just think it misses the mark on pretty much everything.
I felt like Falcon and Winter Soldier was a little weak.
I originally did not like Falcon and Winter Soldier. I thought it was pretty weak, and I thought the fight scenes were not good, which is a bummer because they should be.
Right.
But then when I recently like a few months ago, I did a full MCU rewatch. Just before Thor: Love and Thunder came out, basically.
Right.
And in my rewatch of Falcon and Winter Soldier, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty fucking good. Like, it improved my opinion on it quite a bit.
So maybe I should rewatch it, because I only watched it when I think it first came out, and I was just like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. Hold on one second. We're already 30 minutes in. Do you want to just do another 30?
No, I want to go home. I
Wait,
keep
you
thinking
keep-
you're going to wrap it up, and then you won't wrap it up.
We keep doing. We
Wrap
just keep
it
going.
up. I need to eat my dinner.
You've already.
I will
halfway in.
kill you.
Because I can't use this for a whole episode. This is too
Okay.
much already.
Why not? Just
Because
make
this-
it a long-ass episode. Cut us off right now. Michael, I will leave if you do not cut it off, and you will have to cut it off without me, okay?
No.
I will take my computer and go.
Okay, fine. Well, we have to finish the conversation.
I know, we'll clap us in, and then we'll finish it up.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I'm absolutely like a bitch for the MCU. So I'll keep watching shit, cause whatever.
I feel like I've been
But-
watching shit more selectively as I go,
Right.
just because I've been hitting, like, the fatigue is real. But I'm not going to stop, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah, the fatigue has not gotten to me. Like,
after Endgame, I was like, I am exhausted.
it's like it's certain things. Like there are certain things that I'm absolutely getting less like patient with. Like Eternals, I think is garbage. I think Captain Marvel, bad.
Well,
movie.
Eternals should have been a TV show.
Eternals is also A, they're not even interesting in the comics. B, it's not even that it's a bad movie. It's worse than a bad movie. It's not interesting.
No.
It is boring.
It's almost 3 hours of basically nothing because you have no reason to care about these characters because you spend the first half of the movie being like character, introduction, right? And then we get them all together and then they split up again.
Yep.
What the actual fuck? Why do I care what happens to these people, these literal gods? Just if everybody dies, I literally don't care. Also, the fucking ridiculousness of them being like, oh, end credit scene, Kid Harington, he's secretly a superhero too. I was like, literally, go fuck yourselves.
Well, yeah, he's the Black Knight.
I know, but I was like, I literally.
And now we're probably not getting the Mahershala Ali Blade.
R.I.P.
Yeah, who knows? Apparently, that movie or that TV show is like a mess. The
Oh, and, like,
writing-
production hell?
They keep like rewriting it. It's
I feel like he'd be so good as
He
Blade.
would, but apparently it's just a travesty. And he's like, I don't want to keep doing this if you guys are gonna fucking like.
That's so unfortunate because I feel like the Blade movies, like pre-MCU Blade movies, are so ridiculous and like over the top and stupid.
Right.
But I feel like he could make. I mean, Blade in general is kind of ridiculous and over the top and stupid. But at least I can never pronounce this.
Mahershala Ali.
Yes, thank you. At least he can bring like a swag to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he can make it cool and ridiculous and stupid, opposed to just ridiculous and stupid.
Right.
I think he would make it very entertaining and fun to watch. I don't think I could ever fully be like, I'm invested in Blade as a character. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I do think him as Blade would be really fun.
Yeah, like every article about this thing is just like
Hot mess.
for
Hot mess.
bit, yeah. They've been swapping directors and jumping around and stuff.
Ooh, that is not a good sign.
Yeah. So
So have they been like trying to record certain episodes and it's just not working out, or
I'm
just
not even sure.
they haven't even gotten through like essentially the pilot?
Not even sure. Right. No, I forgot. It keeps jumping back and forth from film to TV show. It's at a film right now, and it's
Wait,
set
how
to be
fun
2024.
would it be if you did like a 10-episode season that's like one through line story, but 10 different directors for each episode? I know that would probably be like
Yeah,
a total
fucking
fucking
mess.
nightmare, but how fun would that be?
That would be an absolute mess. But yeah, it's back to being a film apparently,
Rip.
and it'll be the 36th film, and it's coming. A release date is still set to 2024
So
apparently.
was it originally slated to be a show?
I think it's gone back and forth a few times.
I don't understand what the problem is then. Because they already have him signed, right? As Blade?
Yeah.
So why are they keep changing?
I don't think they can decide what would work best as a story.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
So they're just a hot mess express.
Yeah, bit.
Awful. Hate to see it.
Anyway, I'm hoping that they bring back more Netflix actors though.
Is John Krasinski gonna come back as Mr. Fantastic?
Probably not.
Oh, so he was just in that like alternate timeline.
For the most part, yeah, just as a fan service thing.
Oh, I thought that was cute though. I like that. Kind of wish he would come back.
Apparently, the director did it just to appease fans.
I guess that's
He was
fair.
just like, fuck it, fine. Like, we'll do
There you
it, but you're
go.
not going to get it anywhere else.
I
think him and Emily Blunt would be good Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic, but, I guess they're just going to do their own thing.
I also am still kind of mad about Captain Carter. Like, the what if, I think, could have been way better. It was just...
I think all of those what ifs were pretty bad, except for one of them.
Like, I don't think they were all bad. I just don't think, like, especially with hers, it was just watching, Captain America, but, like, shorthand.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't provide any new perspective on the character, if that makes sense. And
Not
then
at
when
all.
we see her in Multiverse of Madness, she's just there and says, I could do this all day, and then gets fucking annihilated.
Yep.
And I'm like,
All of those characters.
all
That
right,
was just the
that
whole
was
joke was for them to
fucking
be
pointless.
annihilated.
Like, I
Smartest man in the universe. He can kill you with one word.
Right.
It's like, why would you say that? She didn't know that.
yeah.
You could have just been like, hey, Black Bolt, say something.
Yeah, seriously.
Like,
But no, I personally, I did like the Professor Xavier cameo, and I liked him like entering her mind. I thought that was such a creative sequence. And this is my thing. I want them to do more creative things. You don't
Right.
need, at this point in the MCU, you can be as, in my opinion, out there and creative and outlandish as you
because
want
most people
to
are going to
be.
go fucking see your shit at this point. So, like,
Because it's not like you're not going to get the butts in the seats.
yeah. And if
You're
anything,
gonna
you're going to
get
get
the-
more if you start doing more different shit.
Yeah, if you make everything super formulaic and look and feel the same, which I cannot stand the fact that they're making everything look the same.
Yeah.
Like, give me some variety.
At this point, I just kind of hope that we get the Netflix casts back, except for Iron Fist, which I feel bad to say about the Iron Fist actor, but like Colleen Wing, we should get back. But I forget what the fuck his name is, but sorry, bud.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Sucks to suck. I don't know what to tell you, but but Mike Coulter should come back as Luke Cage. Kristen Ritter should come back as Jessica Jones.
She was so good as Jessica Jones.
The only reason why I'm worried that they're not going to bring her back is because she just signed on for she's the lead actor in a Orphan Black spin-off show.
Oh,
So she recently
just
got
that
signed
happened?
in on for that. So people are like, shit, like she probably won't be. There's no way they're going to be able to coordinate that.
Right.
I hope that that's
Unless
wrong.
they just wait, but I think
that
they're
they're-
not going to wait that long for it.
I'm hoping that they just can figure out a way to schedule,
right.
because she's fucking perfect as Jessica Jones.
I think she's like, in the way that people feel like Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man, she is Jessica Jones.
Same with
like-
Charlie Cox being Matt Murdock.
Yeah, perfect casting.
And I think Mike Coulter is also a perfect Luke Cage. Like, I think he's great, and I think him and Kristen Ritter have great chemistry too between them. And Power Man and Jessica Jones are married in the comics and have a
right,
kid.
IRL
So, like,
couple
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, so I think that they have great chemistry, so I feel like that works really well. And they got basically everything right on Netflix except Luke Cage's second half of the first season and the second season, and then also just complete.
They got everything right except for everything but the first 5 episodes.
They got everything right on for Netflix. They got 6.5 seasons right
right.
of 3 shows.
Okay, not bad.
The second half of Luke Cage, not that great. Second season of Luke Cage was just kind of fine. And then Iron Fist was just bad, except for the actress that played Colleen Wing.
Gotcha.
She was great.
Gotcha.
The
I
best
didn't
part,
watch Iron Fist, so I don't even know.
you don't need to. The best part of Iron Fist is a 20-second video that somebody puts into a TV screen or a VHS player of a 1920s Iron Fist running through the woods beating the shit out of people. That is the best part of both of those
That's
seasons.
cute though. I like that kind of visual.
Because It's an incredible fight scene.
Right.
I don't know who the fuck was in charge of that 20 seconds for this entire show. They nailed it.
Right.
Everything else is bad. The fight scenes and everything else are awful. Like, it's just like they fucked up everything on that thing. And I know that the guy that got cast as Iron Fist got screwed over because they didn't give him enough time to learn the choreography. I get it. I also just don't think he's very interesting.
Who was the guy that was cast? Sorry, I didn't watch it, so I don't know visually who I'm supposed to be thinking of.
His name is Finn Jones.
Finn Jones?
I don't know. Yeah.
Show me a pic, please.
Sure.
Pull up the pictorial, please. I don't know who that is.
I don't know what he hasn't really been in much.
Oh, do you think this was like his breakout kind of?
He's been in stuff,
deal?
but and also Defenders was bad.
Unrelated, but The Walking Dead finally ended.
Did it?
Yeah.
Like completely
like
over.
Final season, final episode type deal shit.
Wow.
It's been like 100 years.
Sure has.
I know it hasn't been that long, but I feel like The Walking Dead has been around for as long as I have been watching television.
I dropped out of that so hard after I want to say I dropped that at around when Steve died.
Who's Steve?
Sorry, not Steve. I'm thinking of Steven Yeun, the actual actor. The guy, the Asian guy who was had a kid with the farm girl.
I don't watch The Walking Dead.
Oh, you didn't watch any of it?
No.
Oh, well then.
I've watched bits and pieces of it, but I've not watched it enough to be I know who these characters are.
Do you know who Negan is? The dude with the spiky bat?
Is he the guy who's not nice and he has a cowboy hat?
Sure.
And
you ever watch Supernatural?
A piece of shit?
You ever watch Supernatural?
No.
All right, well, sure, yeah. I watched it when Negan, I think I watched the season after Negan showed up.
Wait, hold on. What's Negan who I think is Rick?
Yeah, you're explaining Rick, and Rick wasn't a bad guy.
That's Negan? No. Okay, look up Rick. That's who I'm thinking of.
You're thinking of the main character until he left?
No. Who was the guy that was not nice and trying to be a mayor or something? And he had his own colony of people.
Oh, the original dude of Alexandria.
In the season 1.
No, in season 1.
I don't know. I'm just picturing a guy with a cowboy hat, and he was not nice. That's all I know. I know that's very vague, but that's it. That's the only description I can give you.
I have no idea. Absolutely zero. Anyway, moving on. I think I watched the season immediately following when Negan shows up and then kills Glenn's character. That's the character's name, Glenn.
Who's Glenn? The Asian guy?
Yes.
Oh, R.I.P. Glenn.
When he dies. I think I watched the season after that and that stopped.
Okay, who's the guy with the long hair? He's really important. He's been in the show the whole time. His name is not Rick.
Daryl?
Daryl. That's it. Doesn't he have a son and the son dies?
No. Rick has the son and the son dies. Daryl doesn't have any kids.
I thought Daryl had a son or a surrogate son, and
No.
he was trying to take care of him and teach him how to kill off the zombies.
No.
And then the surrogate son dies, and it's a whole thing.
If that happened, it was after I watched. And I watched till season 6.
It was a young kid.
Carl?
Show me Carl. Maybe
Jesus
it's
Christ.
Carl.
If it's Carl, then it's not. Then it's fucking Rick.
This is
the main character.
This is my extremely vague memory of 5 episodes of The Walking Dead. So that's not Daryl's kid?
No, that's Rick's kid.
He looks just like Daryl.
It's Rick's kid.
He looks identical to Daryl.
Jesus Christ.
He's even got the long hair. Oh, wait. Hold on. Look up
What?
Walking Dead guy with hat. Trust me, it will come up. And then go to Google Images and I'll show you which one I'm talking about. Because you know who I'm talking about.
I hate this.
You're so upset. I love it here. Okay, hold on. Guy with hat. Yeah, this is the guy with the hat. No, that's not the guy with the hat. I'm sorry. You just look kind of similar. Same kind of vibe, but that's the wrong guy. Hold on.
I hate this. I hate everything about this.
Oh wait, yeah, this is the guy with the hat. He doesn't have a hat in this picture. But hold on. That guy.
Rick, the main character. He's not a bad guy.
So who's the bad guy?
It changes every season.
No, I distinctly remember a guy who looked like Rick, but he had a hat and he was not nice and he was trying to kill everybody else. How many seasons did you watch?
You're not talking about this dude. Bitch.
No, that guy does not have a hat, as you can see.
Neither
so that's
did
not
the
who I'm
fucking
talking
dude
about.
that you were pointing
No, I'm
at.
telling you, the guy looked like Rick, but obviously it's not Rick.
I don't know what you want me to tell you.
I'm just saying, how many seasons did you watch?
Apparently season 7.
Okay, I don't know when. I feel like the not nice guy was in the earlier seasons.
You're giving me nothing.
That's all I know.
Well, but you're expecting me to know what you're talking about.
Okay. Here's the thing. He had his own like compound of people.
Every season is that.
Okay, he had his own compound of people, and some people tried to come to the compound, and he didn't want them to come, and he was being really mean about it, and they were like having a fight about being allowed in.
Governor.
Oh, maybe that's right. Hold on, show me what he looks like.
This dude?
No.
Okay, well then I literally no idea.
I don't remember him having an eye patch. I don't think he had an eye patch. Are you sure it wasn't Rick? Rick wasn't crazy?
Yes, I am so positive.
Was there someone who looked like Rick who was crazy? And people in the show were like, yeah, he's a crazy son of a bitch.
Shane?
Maybe. Show me Shane.
That Shane is is the dude that plays the Punisher.
I don't know who that is.
God, John Bernthal.
I don't know who that is. You could say anything. I know I'm very bad at faces and names, if that makes sense. You can do it. I believe in you.
I hate you.
Nope.
Okay, then you know what? You're making it up.
No, I'm not making it up. This is just like an extremely vague memory of a show I didn't watch. You know what I mean?
You're making it up.
I'm not making it up. Wait, who's the guy with the bat? That's Negan?
Yes.
No, it wasn't Negan. Maybe his name was something like Paul.
You're the worst.
Or was there like a Dave? Or like a Jeffrey?
This is apparently every fucking villain.
Okay, show me all the villains.
Just there you go.
Okay, let's see. Do any of these
Swear to
ring
God.
a bell?
I would like to point out to the audience that Sage was complaining about wanting to end this episode 30 minutes ago. And she is the one that's kept this going.
Okay, maybe it was the guy with the eye patch.
We're basically filming a second episode here, and now she has to commit because there's only 20 minutes left. So
I'm really sorry, but I know for a fact.
So welcome to a second episode
that
I'm going to have to do an intro and outro for.
That this character existed, and it might be Mr. Eye Patch.
It has to be.
He feels like a winner. I think it was Mr. Eye Patch, but did he have the eye patch the whole time?
I don't know. It's been since that season came out that I watched it.
I don't know though. Hold on, who's this guy? Why doesn't this open up the picture?
So
Okay.
anyway, we were filming one episode, which was
Is it this guy? Who's that?
That's Negan.
Oh.
The dude with the bat.
Okay, maybe it was Negan.
Holy shit. That's where we started.
I know, but the first picture you showed me didn't look like him.
I showed you all of the pictures of him. What do you mean?
Mike is so upset his voice has gone high.
We're filming a second episode.
Well, I mean,
there's 20 minutes left.
this isn't my fault.
It is. You start. I phrased it as, Okay, well, and then you changed the topic. I was
Oh,
going
you're
to
right.
end
I
it.
did because I mentioned that The Walking
So
Dead
this is
ended.
your fault.
I'm really sorry.
So now we're going into this is a second episode. This is your
well,
fault.
why don't you tell me about The Walking Dead then?
I don't remember much about The Walking Dead. I remember Daryl was very good. Apparently, he became a garbage character in the later seasons.
R.I.P.
Not because he became like an
bad
actual
guy?
bad person, but because his writing got horrible because they didn't know how to write him anymore.
But like, isn't that true with all of? Like, I feel like wasn't that the general consensus with the show? If that makes sense. Like it hit its stride, hit its peak, and then it just started going downhill. No.
Pretty much, yeah. There was a point when Glenn basically should have died at one point. And then it was such a hand-wavy reason why he didn't. And it's because everybody loved his character. He was like the
Right.
fan favorite character, basically,
Right.
behind Daryl. And it became such a hand-wavy reason why he didn't die. And then Negan showed up and he kills Glenn because he already got like hand-waved off.
Because
So they were
Negan
like,
is evil.
Yeah. And then once Glenn died, it was just very
So I think I watched 3 episodes within the last season. This is basically the only context I know about The Walking Dead. And they're in this like Haven compound essentially.
Right.
Oh, but wouldn't you know it? The people that run the compound are evil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like, is that not just like
Every time.
the core theme of the show?
Every time is that humans are evil, and then they go and find the humans, and like.
But yeah, so like this compound has a military, and Daryl is a part of it, but like begrudgingly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then there's some stuff that happens, and then like the woman who runs the compound, her son gets turned into a zombie, so she uses her zombie son to torture her enemies, essentially.
Yeah.
It's weird, and I was like, what the actual fuck? And I do remember this specific scene where there was this girl and a guy and another guy whose leg was broken, and they're like hobbling along, and they're at what do you call it?
That's the prison, I believe.
Renaissance fair. They make their way to an abandoned Renaissance fair, essentially. Like, you know what a Renaissance fair looks like?
Yes.
Okay, imagine one of those, but there's nobody there.
Okay.
So they make it to a Renaissance fair location, but then a bunch of zombies come, and I felt like they should have died, and they just didn't for no reason. I was like, all of y'all should be fucking zombie meat right now. Why are you still alive?
Right.
Like, the vibe I got that it was a little too like hand wavy, if that makes sense. Like, I wasn't into it, but I also have never seen like the earlier seasons.
The first season is like some of the greatest television,
Right.
like hands down. And like it still stays pretty good. Like season 7, where Negan shows up and kills Glenn, is also pretty good. Because it reintroduces the stakes. It kills Glenn off, which was. It had to basically be Glenn because he was the one that everyone wanted. Like, it was never going to be Daryl because Daryl literally carried the show.
Right.
And everyone loved Glenn, but he got hand-waved alive like one too many times. And so it had to be him, basically, which sucks.
Like, they had no choice.
Yeah. And like it should have been some other characters. 'Cause also, it was like other characters.
Was it hand wavy in the way that like later seasons Game of Thrones is hand wavy? If that makes sense.
Basically, he got overrun, and then he hid. He like fell off of a like
Small
ladder
cliff.
or something, and into a pile of zombies. Like into a pile of zombies.
Okay, so he's dead.
Right. And then the next episode or 2 episodes, it might have been a little bit, I don't remember.
Right.
But it like cuts to him, and it's when he falls, and he knocks over a bunch of them when he falls down. And then he's next to a dumpster, so he like rolls under the dumpster and then just like stays under the dumpster where they can't reach him until they go away.
I understand. So he should have died, but he didn't.
Yeah.
It's like Arya in the chase scene with the waif.
Yeah.
Like, that bitch is not alive.
Arya should have been dead so many times.
Oh my god. But that's the most egregious, is it not?
Arya should have been dead so many times. All of the Starks, for the most part, should have been fucking dead.
Like, I mean, most of the Starks are dead. Let's be real.
That's also true. and then you forget about
Rickon.
and then he's all of a sudden actually still alive, and you're like, oh, right, that guy. And then he gets shot with an arrow, and you're like, oh, right,
You're
that
like,
guy.
ah, yes, the character that had literally zero impact on this story.
Literally, I don't remember. Did he do anything in the
No,
first season?
he did literally nothing the entire time. And they care so little about him that when Arya comes back to the North, I think in season 7,
Something like that.
they don't even tell her that Rickon is dead.
Oh yeah.
That's how little he matters.
like
Like
that. Good for that kid. He got a fucking check. You know,
Yeah, like,
he got multiple seasons of Game of Thrones money.
he got a check, but also Rickon is so pointless. They don't even tell the sister he's dead.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. If I'm a Stark and I show up back to the home and you just see who's there, you're like, oh, they're all dead. All right.
You're like, I would just assume they're dead.
Yeah, like, you know, if I'm a Stark, I assume everyone's dead until I see them.
Well, because no, at that point, who was the only ones that were dead was Rob and Rickon.
Well, the mom and the dad and
That's true. Mom and Dad were dead.
and the
Theon was still alive though, who technically
yeah,
wasn't
but they
a
hated
Stark.
Theon anyway. Did they know if Jon was alive or not?
Yeah, because Sansa was there when he took back Winterfell,
Right.
so she knew he was alive.
But
They
Arya
didn't.
probably
I don't
didn't.
think they knew. Bran was alive though. I think Jon knew Bran was alive, but Sansa didn't know if he was alive.
Yeah, but also who the fuck cares about Bran?
Bran.
Whatever, Bran. Who the fuck cares about him? He was such an uninteresting character. He got less and less interesting because that was his power.
I mean, they just chose to essentially make him, I think, a very underwhelming version of that kind of character trope, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, like, his character is to be detached, which
I mean,
I get. But the problem with writing detached characters is that they can become very easily ungodly boring.
I think the problem is they made him so immensely powerful in this universe that they truly didn't know how to power scale it.
Right.
Because outside of Daenerys and Melisandre, everybody else is just a person.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you can't have a literal god.
I forget. Could Daenerys be hurt by fire?
No.
Not at all.
No.
Okay.
That's the whole point.
Right. I remember she went into that fire, but then I couldn't remember if that was like always a thing.
No, yeah, because in season 1, before she has the dragons,
Right.
when Khal Drogo kills her brother, she says he wasn't a dragon, right? Because dragons aren't hurt by their own fire, obviously. And the whole thing with, like, Targaryens is the one that's the real dragon. It can't be hurt by flames.
Okay.
And then when Khal Drogo dies and they burn his body, she goes into the pyre.
Yes.
With the eggs. And that's how she gets the dragons.
Yes. Right.
And that's why the rest, like, so she has, like, a small number of, like, the Dothraki horde that was, like, originally following Khal Drogo.
Right.
Like, a small number of them stay with her after he dies because they don't recognize her as their leader, so the majority of them leave, right? But the ones that see her come out of the pyre with the dragons stay with her after that. They're like, oh, hell yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What the fuck is the Daenerys' brother's name again?
Viserys.
Viserys?
Yeah.
I fucking don't even remember that. Oh, yeah. That totally is his name.
Did you think I was lying?
I don't know. I just kind of fucking forgot about it. He gets, like, gold poured on him, right? Or something?
Yeah, because he's, like, making a whole stink about, like, Khal Drogo not, like, holding up his end of the bargain about giving him like an army and like how he deserves to wear like the golden crown and this, that, the other thing. And Khal Drogo's like, you want a crown? I got you, boo. And then he takes a bunch of like gold that I guess they, like stole and melts it down and like pours it on him and kills him with it with like melted gold.
God, I'm like watching.
Which is a very unique way to kill someone.
It really is. I'm like watching this clip and I forgot how season 1 looked of Game of Thrones.
Dark and grainy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure does. And also just tits everywhere.
Yeah, I feel like season 1, and it's funny because I feel like season 1 of House of the Dragon, I feel like they really toned it down.
Oh yeah,
like the amount of titties is far less.
Really? Well, by the end of Game of Thrones, it was also much less too.
Not even by the end. I feel like at least by halfway.
Yeah, around there.
You
They
know?
definitely changed their tone.
Yeah, significantly. But it got more bloody
Yes.
in turn. Less titty, more blood.
Mm-hmm.
Where I feel like House of the Dragon is actually probably the same. Less titty, more blood.
Mm-hmm. Hey, at the very least, it gave us Jason Momoa.
Oh yeah.
So, wait. So now that I think about it, so if they can't be killed by their own fire, would that mean if you poured gold on Daenerys, it wouldn't do anything?
No, it's gold is not fire.
No, I know, but what she says is that I guess he's not the dragon, right?
No.
Oh, I thought
She's
that's what you were
just saying
saying.
he's not the dragon because she knows she is.
Oh.
She already figured out she can't be hurt by fire.
Okay. I was like, so if you just fucking pour molten lava on this
No.
girl, she'd be fine.
No.
Like
she's just saying he was no dragon because she knew she was.
Yeah, couldn't you just test that like immediately? Any child that's born, just fucking like hold them by the leg and put them over fire, and if they're fine, they're fine.
I mean, I guess, but it's also more like a folktale. I don't think it was a super literal thing, especially because they were the only two of like the Valyrian blood left. And I think by the time it got to their line, it was probably like a what do you call it? Like a superstition? That's the wrong
yeah,
word.
like it was so not a thing anymore.
Like passed down through generations
Right.
kind of storytelling where probably most people didn't believe it.
Right.
So why are you going to be throwing your babies into the fire to test if they're the dragon? You know what I mean?
Every kid just whoop.
Survival of the fittest.
Nope, they're dead. All right.
But yeah. So no, it was not a literal thing of that.
Gotcha. So, then I guess that makes Jon Snow just impervious to snow.
I mean, kinda. He did fall into like Antarctic ice water, fully clothed.
He sure did.
And submerged and didn't die.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess you're not wrong.
Do you think his wife ever just says you know nothing, Jon Snow, to him? Because they are.
I kind of hope she doesn't. I can't, because...
No? You don't think if you met your husband while like doing some kind of big acting thing that you wouldn't just quote it, the one thing you said to him over and over again?
No, I think that would be weird. Because she doesn't really try to kill him, but like, you know what I mean?
Maybe they're into that.
Attempted murder is my kink.
Hey man, there's someone out there for everyone. They got to role play it in a TV show. That's the best they're gonna get.
I mean, I can't blame them, but
and then now everything's pretty vanilla from there.
only missionary from here on out, honey.
It's missionary or middle of the wilderness hot springs.
Yeah, I feel like the latter sounds pretty awesome. No, they weren't even in the middle of the wilderness. They were on the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
So Antarctica hot springs.
Yeah.
Like
just in Antarctica
also,
nude hot
imagine
springs.
how awful it must feel getting out of the water.
Awful.
Like the water is warm. Nothing else is.
Well, it's like getting into a hot tub in the middle of winter.
Yeah. And then you're just prickly.
Oh, it's the worst.
But like even worse because I feel like
I mean, it's definitely way colder there than it was here.
Could that like I feel like that would send your body into shock, no?
No, because it still takes the time for it to, like, you get out and you're like, oh shit, but like it's not.
I guess.
It still has to like get off of you.
The
The difference is jumping into cold, not standing up from hot to cold.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because like you're submerging your body in cold,
Right, it's like
versus
encapsulating you.
versus the air. Because like it's the shock is not actually the dangerous thing. The shock is the fact that because like when you get shock, it's a
Right.
and so it's dangerous because you're going into the cold water and then you breathe in water.
Right.
Like I guess theoretically you could probably get shock from standing up from hot to cold, but you're not gonna die.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably just less extreme.
Because you're just gonna go and then just like maybe be locked up for a second.
Actually, you turn into like a cartoon icicle.
Yeah. But like, because I've gone in a hot tub when it was like, it was, what was it? It wasn't negative, but it was like 1 or 2 degrees or something.
Literally, why? That sounds so awful.
So it was during like when I was way younger. And it was when I still did sports, and like I was just super sore, and I just like,
just take a hot shower, my dude.
I was just like, fuck it. So, and it was like snow and whatnot. So I was just like, I walked out, got in the hot tub, and then I was in there for a bit, and then like stood up, and it was the worst. And then you just had to walk your feet on the snow like into the house.
That sounds awful.
I mean, it's, you know, I guess it's like going from a hot shower and then taking a cold shower to end it.
I don't do that.
Oh, I'm
not a psycho.
Well, A, it wakes you up. B, it's cold water and cold
baths. I take
baths
a shower to go to sleep.
I do it in the morning, so.
Oh.
I shower in the morning.
I don't.
And then, also like cold water baths, ice baths are actually like really good for you.
I know. I used to do them a lot when I did cross country. If I never have to do one again, I will be okay with it.
Yeah, but they are apparently very good for
yeah,
you health-wise.
they're supposed to be like super healing for your body, but like I remember at my school, we had like ice bath. I don't know what you call it, like
ice bath.
Yeah. But they gave you these funny little toe pads so your toes wouldn't get hypothermia, which was smart because I would never even think of that.
Right.
But also, you feel ridiculous putting on this tiny little thing. Being like, what the fuck is this going to do for my little toesy woesies?
Right. Yeah, because apparently, I think I was like reading this article about it recently, and the science behind it was like, basically, if you spent 11 minutes total in a week in like ice bath, so not one thing
right,
every day, it was like 11 minutes total. The beneficial views of like of dopamine, like mental and physical like well-being, like and whatnot, it was like increased quite substantially, and it was like, I don't want to do that, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
But like a lot of people even say they're like a good way to build yourself up to it is take your shower and then end it cold, and I don't do it because of that. I just do it because like it wakes me up, and also, hot water is also not really great for your body,
right,
and whatnot, and it's
also not good for your hair. Fun fact.
Yeah. Also, it helps you. The cold baths also help you with like your tolerance to cold. Obviously, that kind of makes sense,
right?
So like you get much better at being able to be in cold weather,
right?
So. I don't know. I find it kind of interesting. But yeah. Hey, that's 2 episodes.
Woohoo!
You didn't even want to do that.
Well,
and then
here we
you
are.
Forced it into it.
I know. I'm so sorry.
You did it to yourself, so you can't be mad at me. Oh hey, I'm gonna have to do an intro and outro.
Yeah, but
2
just
outros.
just outro us here, and then you can fix it in post.
Well, I have to do it. I have to do 2 outros, 1 intro. You have to be here for both.
Oh, okay, whatever.
Hey, remember that time I was talking about how I got to record multiple intros and outros? Hey, we just did
Here
that.
We are.
Here we are. So here's the outro for this episode, because we're We're really good.
I do
at
like
planning.
that these will come out not sequentially.
not
so
at
people
all.
are going to be like, what the actual fuck?
We have to re-record an older episode because it just didn't really like work out very well.
Yeah.
So this episode.
But this episode I feel like was good. With
Yeah.
the MCU chat. That was fun.
Yeah, I think this episode is going to be like beforehand.
Yeah.
So, which is also why I'm not entirely sure what episode number it is. So, hey,
We'll
thanks
put it
for
on the
watching.
screen however much time and what show you're supposed to be watching.
Well, we know what show it is.
It's still Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh, I guess it might not be.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, all right. Hey.
Spoiler alert if we didn't do the previous anime club.
Yeah, all right. So, hey, you see what episode number this is. So, like it's in the screen. So, whatever episode number it is, you have that. If it's however many away it is from 5 or 0, you have that much time to watch whatever the anime club is.
Whatever show we might be watching next.
Yeah, promise, it's not, we're going to be more clear about this from the future. We got a little mixed up in our recordings.
Yeah, a little tangled.
Yeah, but hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening to us, review, follow, and like. Couldn't remember what it
You're
was.
doing great.
Don't forget to check out Kat at Kat the Moonstar on Twitch, and that'll be the end of this episode. So we will see you guys next week for whatever episode that is. Bye.
Bye-bye.